Malcolm Louie here. Welcome to Eversprint.com. Today we're speaking with Grant Barra, the managing partner and CEO of Barra of Associates, a fast-growing insurance and financial services brokerage company. We'll be speaking today about how he increases revenue 93% from $2.7 million in 2014 to $5.2 million in 2017. Welcome to the call, Grant.
Thank you. Thank you, Malcolm.
Increasing revenue 93% over 3 years is really impressive, Grant. Can you share how you did this?
Awesome. So revenue is, of course, the driving force behind any growth, any new business, any entrepreneur out there looking to grow their business. And our focus wasn't necessarily on the end customer, even though the end consumer is the person who is paying the money to drive the revenue into the organization. Really, those consumers are coming from the sales force that we have within the organization. It's primarily put us in a spot to where we wanted to focus on growing the sales force, right? The sales force who is going to grow our customer base. We've done that by creating a model that is a different model than is normally seen within our industry. Within our industry, the normal model is an agent coming into the industry is going to sign with what we could consider a captive insurance company. So a captive insurance company is a company that agent represents one company, finds clients, and sells that one company's products to the clients. The model that we built, because we've seen with time that clients demand more value, right? They want more value from the people that they're working with. It's no longer good enough just to have a relationship and jam that square peg into the round hole. There's an expectation, right, because consumers are educated that value, and I don't want to discredit a relationship because it is incredibly important, but value must be provided for that end consumer to do business even on that relationship basis. We built a platform that works with more than 100 different insurance companies. And by building that platform that works with more than 100 different insurance companies, we can now position our agents that find prospects in the field. They can work with just about any prospects and have solutions that meet the needs of those specific prospects by connecting them with the right insurance company.
Okay, so which came first, building your network of agents or building the platform that was available to your agents that offered the 100 different providers that they can choose from to give the best solution to their clients?
You know, at the beginning, it was a hustle. I remember when we first started, we had a very limited number of carriers. So our focus was, of course, working the relationships that we had with the very limited number of carriers, less than five carriers, and pretty much finding agents to represent our company and focus just on selling those 5 carriers. Now, during that process, in order to grow, we really had to sell the agents on the future vision of the company, right? So credit to the leadership team. We're constantly selling the future vision of the company. So as we were able to get more agents into the company, agents and then agency owners into the company, we were able to drive enough revenue that allowed us to disperse that revenue over more companies. So As we added on more companies, the value proposition became better to the agents and ultimately the end customers.
Right. Now, how challenging was it to grow your list of carriers from 5 to over 100? Extremely
difficult. So the carriers that we work with, they're not just going to appoint anyone, and there are very high revenue requirements with just about every single carrier that must be met on an annual basis. So that actually worked in our favor because it's not like any agent or agency can just go out and get contracts with these insurance companies and start offering their products.
Right.
So essentially, it limits the competition to individuals who can drive revenue to those companies.
Okay. So is the process for growing your business is that you were adding agents who could sell your existing list of carriers, and then as your business grew, you continued to add more carriers, pushing the envelope, finding those that would be willing to bring you on board. Is that the growth strategy? Two-pronged, growing agents
Absolutely.
and carriers at the same time.
So we wanted to continue to add carriers. Now, we did this in a strategic way. We wanted to constantly provide value to the end consumer. And in order to provide value to the end consumer, right, we had to be able to find them. So we had to have agents finding those end consumers. To manage those agents, we found that those agents were constantly gravitating towards captive insurance carriers like the Farmers, the State Farms, the Allstates. And while they're very good companies, my belief is their agency model is dated.
Okay.
So because the consumers are demanding more value, right, our model then boxes in the logical components of the sale.
Okay.
And the agents, all they have to do is find that relationship.
Okay. So when you added carriers, were you adding carriers to meet the needs of your agents and their client base? Or do you pretty much already know in advance which carriers you wanted to eventually bring into the fold?
We actually only brought in carriers on an as-needed basis. So the metrics that we managed to within the company was out of every 10 consumers that we ran through our platform, we wanted to be competitive in 9 situations.
Okay.
If they already had existing coverage in place.
Okay. So if you came across if your best package that you can offer was not competitive due to a client having another carrier, then you would perhaps consider adding that carrier to the fold.
100%. So we have the technology internally to be able to track our competitive cases versus our not competitive cases. And for example, last year we had about a 45-day period in which we fell out of favor of that every 10 households, every 10 clean households we ran through our platform being competitive in 9. We actually dropped down to about 6.7.
Wow.
So out of every 10 we ran through, we were competitive in 6.7. Because of the technology we use internally, and technology being a huge part of why we're able to move quickly and grow, we were able to identify the holes in which did not allow us to be competitive. We identified 2 additional carriers in the marketplace that would fill those holes, and we onboarded them. We did this all within a 45-day period, bringing our numbers back up above that 9 competitive out of every 10 we ran through, leaving our total 2017 numbers out of every 20 clean households that were ran through our platform, we were competitive in more than 19. So that gives our agents the competitive advantage to close more clients because our competition, who are the State Farms, American Families, the Allstates, are running 20 households through their platform. They're competitive in 2 or 3. Right. So right there, you can see the advantage of an agent being with us as opposed to a captive.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, is the technology that you're using to track all this, is this developed all in-house, or were you able to find a third party that helped you create this platform?
So we actually leveraged existing technology that's available in the marketplace. One of the best, most well-known, respected companies in the marketplace. We packaged 3 different platforms together, and we worked with a programming team on the back end to customize this to our needs within the organization. So we have, to the best of my knowledge, the best technology and software available in the independent marketplace, and I don't believe anyone else can compete with us. Traditionally, an agent or an agency owner is going to have to type in information in the independent marketplace, a minimum of 4 places, sometimes 15, 16 places to get the information. Within our system, you're only typing it in once, and it's transitioning to all the carriers. It's transitioning to the CRM system, and it's transitioning to our sales center to be able to track where each prospect is in the sales cycle.
Sounds fantastic. Oftentimes I hear, even when I worked at for investment banks in my previous roles, getting the employees, the staff, to use the tech was always very challenging. How were you able to get your agencies, your brokers, your field agents to use the tech so that it in turn can help them win new business?
Sure. So we met. That's a challenge that we had from the beginning. I'm glad you brought that up. We really have two distribution channels, right? So we're distributing through our agency owners, and we're distributing through our agents within the organization. So the agents that we bring into the organization, we want to remove as much of that burden as possible. So they can have access to it, and we give access to it for the right people, but we have a support team behind the scenes that will do 100% of the data input, quoting, searching for the right carriers. They don't have to do anything except for find the client, gather information, submit it. It gets kicked back to them within one business day, and they go out, present, close the business. It's good for the client. It's good for the agent. Because we've taken all the roadblocks out of their way, they're able to grow and drive a lot more revenue than the traditional agent is. That's allowed us to grow exponentially every single year. On the agency owner side, they really had no option to begin with. So it was easy to get those individuals to adopt the technology simply because they're already typing the information into 4, 5, 6, sometimes 15 different places. So because our technology allowed them to type it in once, and it would convert over to the carriers and CRM and sales center, it was a no-brainer.
Right. It really sounds like the tech platform that you have is one of the keys to your competitive advantages and the big driver of enabling you to grow your sales so rapidly.
Without a doubt,
Right.
it would be impossible to scale without the leveraging technology.
Right. On the agent side, what was their strategy for finding new agents to come on board?
So we take the approach of job postings, platforms such as Monster, Career Builder, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and leveraging the recruiting options within LinkedIn to find both licensed and unlicensed candidates that are looking to come into the insurance industry.
Okay.
That's on the agent side. On the agency owner side, we post in franchise type forum environments and also do fairs or anything that's relevant to individuals looking to start businesses.
Okay. Do you do any sort of advertising to help find the agencies and the agency owners?
By advertising, if you'd consider job postings advertising and or posting jobs on LinkedIn and sponsoring job postings, yes. Outside of that, we do not do any advertising.
Okay.
For agents or agency owners.
Okay. Have you, why is that? Is it because what you're doing so far is more than enough to meet your needs, or is it because you tried it and the results were just really poor?
We have not tried any other form of advertising.
Okay.
We just haven't had a need to explore that area yet.
Right. Okay. In terms of your future plans, what are you thinking about doing next to further grow your business?
So the focus is on growing our agency owners in the field because we find that they're the most engaged, and it's going to be the quickest way for us to create a bigger footprint in the area that we operate.
Okay.
So we've brought in, and technology, it comes back to technology in this aspect as well. So we've brought in a good number of agency owners within the organization, and they've all had a lot of success. One thing that nobody's realized is when you leverage technology and you change platforms, sometimes, a lot of times, there are problems that you encounter. One of the problems that we encountered during our data conversion was an error that was caused by, on the back end, by the external team that we employed to do the conversion from one system to another. Now you're probably wondering, why are we converting to another system? Our old platform was fantastic, but our new platform that I described was going to allow us to exponentially grow without necessarily needing to add staff in particular functional areas.
Okay.
So because of that problem, it got delayed for a period. Now, when we got delayed for a period of about 7 to 8 months. We had to operate off 2 platforms, and it didn't affect anyone in the field because we're internally operating off 2 platforms. So everything was working just as it always had for everyone in the field. But what it did was it prevented us from being able to continue to grow at a rate that was significantly higher than we've even been growing the last several years.
Right.
Now, that happened in 2017, and we still grew, right? I mean, we still we still grew a great amount. But technology definitely held us back from having higher numbers than are even already shown on the Inc. 5000.
Okay. So with your current platform, how much bigger can you go before you need to do another round of investment to scale it up further, to build it up further?
We've never taken an investment. We bootstrapped
what I mean
the
is,
entire organization.
you've invested in your IT platform using your internal funds, and you did, in 2017 you did 5.2 million. How much can you scale up your revenue with your current platform before you need to invest more into your technology?
So the technology is an ongoing cost, and
Okay.
it's going to increase on a annual basis. But that cost is going to increase based on the number of individuals we bring into the company. So the way it's set up now, unless there's a huge breakthrough in technology that we need to bring in, I don't see, with the current offerings in the marketplace, anything that we'd have to spend additional on other than what's already planned through our growth strategy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So the way your platform is set up, it's sounds like it's really easily scalable. So if you added 100 new agents, it sounds like it can handle it. You just pay up for the cost of having these 100 new agents onto your platform.
Exactly.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. What about trends? What trends, longer term trends, do you foresee happening in the insurance business that you either want to take advantage of, or perhaps maybe you want to get out of the way so it doesn't hurt you?
So there's 2 trends. One's a positive, and one some people view as a negative. The first trend is the shift away from the traditional agency model.
Okay.
And the traditional agency model is agents coming in and joining captive companies.
Okay.
It's well known that it's very difficult to have success underneath that model.
Right.
Not impossible. Companies are fantastic. The model is just dated. So because of what we've done and others are trying to do, we have really leveraged what's already available in the industry, but we've packaged it up so we can really work with an agent that is new, bring them in, train them, get them up and running just as if they were originally joining a captive company, because that's the reason people would gravitate towards them. They had no idea how to get started.
Right.
And then the independent side, they didn't have the contacts, they didn't have the revenue, they didn't have the funds to get started. We've eliminated those barriers We've eliminated the need for those individuals to hire staff immediately. We've eliminated the needs for them to meet specific production requirements with every single carrier, right? So that way we can bring them in, train them, and give them an opportunity to close more sales than they've ever closed before.
Right. Okay. What was the second trend you talked about? You said one was positive and another one was negative or potentially negative.
The second trend is, and the reason I even bring it up is because it's talked about so often. Individuals have a fear that insurance is going to be a 100% commodity and everyone's just going to purchase it online.
Right.
I don't believe that to be an issue in any middle or higher end type of market, maybe in the very low end, but people don't know what they're buying, right?
Okay.
They need an advisor to help them through that process to make sure they're properly covered. What I would compare that to is, are you going to go visit with an attorney for an issue, or are you going to buy all the documents on LegalZoom?
Right.
Well, LegalZoom is a fantastic service. The simple stuff, I think it's going to get taken off the table and people are going to go to the LegalZoom, the online route. But there's so much complex situations out there that those individuals are always going to need agents to work with.
Right. Yeah, people just don't have time to figure it out figure out everything themselves. They would want someone's expertise to give them the right solution quickly at times.
And if you're looking at products like life insurance, disability income, long-term care, I mean, those are products that I would consider sold, not necessarily purchased.
Okay.
And I'm not saying no one out there just goes out and purchases them. It does happen, but a vast majority of the policies are sold.
Right. Meaning that people aren't necessarily looking for those things right now at that very moment. Is that what you mean by sold?
Correct.
As opposed, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in terms of how you came up with your strategies of growing your business, what was the foundations for that? I mean, where did you get the initial ideas to go that route?
So I originally started out as a captive insurance agent, right out of college. I didn't know any better. I didn't even know being independent was an option, being able to work with multiple companies. My understanding at that time, and it's most people's understanding, is that if you want to work in the insurance business and have an agency, you need to find a company such as an American Family or State Farm, interview with them, and start an agency within that environment. So I did exactly that, started up an agency within a captive environment. And what I saw over time was we would be quoting we'd be building relationships and quoting so many people. And the statistics were right around 20 we'd meet with and offer a proposal to in order to be competitive 2 or 3 of those times. So in all reality, the opportunity in that captive environment to actually write clients, because we don't want to be writing clients in products that aren't necessarily in their best interest. We need to find 20 to really find 2 or 3 people that we can offer a solution to that's in their best interest.
Right.
So we can only close that many. Now, what I'm looking at is, oh my gosh, what's happened to those 17 to 18 individuals that we can't do anything with? Well, they're going somewhere.
Right, exactly.
And wherever they're going, why can't that be with me? I'm going to put in the work. We're going to do the right thing for the clients. So it was a very small office. I had 3 assistants. It was myself at that time. And then I decided that there has to be an option available to be able to work with these clients, right? You already have the relationship. That's when we explored and followed the path of becoming independent as opposed to offering one company, offering multiple companies.
Right.
So as we started doing that, quickly learned that it just works, right? Mm-hmm. It just makes sense. So if you can build the relationship with the clients and you can offer logic logical solution that just makes sense for them. It's putting them in a better place. They're better off because they're doing business with you, and you have that relationship. You're going to do business with them. So as we grew, we decided that the only way for us to be able to grow exponentially on an annual basis is to be able to do that through other people.
Right.
And that's when we started building out the platform that created our ability to recruit agents, bring agents in, so they could then offer to their clients what we were doing.
Right.
Right. So we were already beating the Allstates, the State Farms, the American Families, even the independent agencies that didn't have that many carriers or their technology was dated. Right. So because we were beating them, we found it to be easy to contact their agents and get their agents to change over to our platform.
Right. Because they can write 4 times more business. Right.
Exactly.
If they're only winning 2 out of 10, and then they come over to your platform where they can also win a good chunk of the 8 who aren't buying business from them, that's a very compelling argument to make a change. Do you ever?
And when I say easy, I don't want to make it sound like what we do is easy. It's absolutely not easy, but it's definitely easier than what they're doing today.
Yeah. Do you ever have agents or agent owners leave your platform? And if so, what was their motivation for moving away? Because your platform sounds fantastic.
So very few. What I find is that, and I believe this, of course I'm biased because I was the creator of the platform, but if an agent can't make it with us, they're not going to make it in our industry.
Right.
So have we ever lost agents and or agency owners? The answer is yes. The turnover within our industry is very high. The turnover within our company is significantly lower than the turnover within the industry.
Can you share those numbers, the industry turnover and your turnover?
So if the industry was to bring in 100 agents today,
okay,
4 years from now, only 14 of them would still be in the industry.
Right.
So I'm not even talking about with the same company in the industry.
Okay.
If we bring in 100 agents today, based on our numbers, somewhere between 60 to 65 of them will still be with our company 4 years from now.
Wow, fantastic. Do you have numbers also showing the difference in their business between those that work for your company as opposed to the industry average? Is it a huge difference there as well?
So we have numbers that show the competitive advantage in working with us. I don't really know where to pull industry numbers from.
Okay.
But our agents are very happy, right? And if they weren't happy with us, they'd be going somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely.
So in regards to losing agents, so we still do lose people. And what I find is if someone follows our program, we've never lost an agent or an agency owner that's followed our program.
Okay.
And it's not that anyone doesn't want to necessarily follow the program, but there's a work ethic component involved. Okay. And not everyone has it in them to put in the amount of work required to make it within our industry.
Right.
It doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes them not necessarily a fit for our industry.
Right.
So we have lost individuals to other companies, and we've maintained those relationships because if an individual is not going to make it with us and we know of a better fit somewhere else, we'll give them recommendations. We'll give them good referrals. We'll introduce them to people. We want to see everyone do well.
Right. It sounds like it'd be difficult, really, for any of your agents or agency owners to move, just because it sounds like a lot of your process is tied into your platform. So even though they might learn your process and know how to execute it, they really can't do it without your platform. Would you agree with that?
They would have a very difficult time doing it without our platform, and there would be a significant financial investment in the hundreds of thousands of dollars to get anything even remotely resembling the platform that they're operating on
Right.
today.
Right. For the agents and agency owners out there who are listening to this interview, what's the best way for them to contact you to perhaps come on board and enjoy your platform, or perhaps even for the business owners out there who are looking for insurance, how can they best contact you and your team?
Sure. If they visit www.ifsbrokerage.com, so that's I for insurance, F for financial, S for service, brokerage.com, there's information about both agent opportunities and agency owner opportunities, along with potential clients that wants to do business with somebody that operates on our platform. Without question, they're gonna have an opportunity to get more value than they would from a captive company or an independent that doesn't have access to so many carriers, right? Because we're representing the client and we're matching them up with the carrier. So they can get our information on the website as well.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Grant, and sharing how you grew your company's sales so fast.
Thank you, Malcolm.
We've been speaking with Grant Barra about how he grew his business 90% plus over 3 years. To listen to other Eversprint.com interviews with other fast-growing companies, or to learn how we can increase your firm's high-ticket sales through automation, visit Eversprint.com.